everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to be doing another installment in the Then and Now series, and the book that we're going to be talking about is The Search by Nora Roberts. Let's see if we can get it without some glare here. Ooh. There we go. So that's the book. I'm going to go ahead and let you watch the clip from before, and then I'll kind of give you my breakdown now. So enjoy. I read The Search by Nora Roberts. This is a romantic thriller that's set on Orcas Island, which is outside of Seattle, set in the San Juan Islands. The book stars a woman who survived an attack by a serial killer to find out years later that she's now being hunted by his protege. It features some pretty intense, suspenseful scenes and a lot of romance. 3 read-alikes would be Midnight Sun by Kat Martin, Key West by Stella Cameron, and The Cove by Catherine Coulter. Okay, welcome back. As I said before, this is by Nora Roberts. It is a romantic suspense novel. So it's a romance book, but they add some suspense and thriller kind of elements into it, basically. The book is about a woman who, when she was in college, was kidnapped by a serial murderer. She gets away and he ends up getting caught, but not before her fiance is murdered. And this is years later, she's moved to Orcas Island in the Puget Sound to kind of start her life anew. She doesn't really want to be around people or anything that reminds her of her past. And she has now started doing dog training. She has a lot of classes that she leads for people on the island to train their dogs. And then she also does elite training for dogs for search and rescue. And she herself leads a team of search and rescue people who all have tracking dogs. So the book opens with her meeting a new person on the island named Simon. He is a woodworker and he does artwork and also furniture. Not that that matters. But his mother had given him a puppy and he needs to know how to train the puppy because the puppy's driving him crazy. So he shows up for dog lessons and she basically is like, well, I have to train you too. So a romance ensues and then some things start happening around her house that lead her to believe that the person that attacked her and killed her fiance may be out or stalking her or something. Things get left at her house, that sort of a thing. So as these incidents intensify, she starts to kind of have flashbacks about what happened. So I don't want to give any more away because I can't really say much more about the book without giving away plot points. But the pacing of this, I would say, starts off kind of slow. There's not a lot of world building. So it's weird that it starts off slowly because normally when books start off a little on the slower side, it's because they are spending more time doing some world building. And this is more the author just giving you kind of a sense of routine for the main character. And then also the book is told from, well, it's third-person perspective, but you get scenes that are following either the main female character, the main male love interest person, or the bad guy. And so a lot of the beginning of the book is just establishing a routine for the main female character and the main male character and kind of establishing the romance, which is not uninteresting, but it's not, I wouldn't call it like a quickly paced beginning. Once the stalking type incidents start happening, then the pace definitely picks up. But I would say that's about a third of the way through the book, if not more like halfway through the book. So the plot definitely, or the pacing definitely builds as you get further into the book, but it's fairly slow to start out with. It's more of a leisurely pace, just kind of the daily routine of these people. They go in depth a lot about the training classes and the expectations that there are for the people who own the dogs and a lot of that. So I guess that's the world building. It's not world building in the actual world. It's world building of the canine training world, I guess. This is not a densely written book. It is definitely something you could just like pick up and read over a weekend, or, you know, have to take your kids to soccer practice or whatever, like you can throw it in a bag. It's that kind of read. It's not something you need to like dedicate a bunch of time to. The characterization for this book is kind of falls flat a little bit. They're not very well-drawn characters. Both the main female character and the main male character are people who are, I moved to the island because I don't like interacting with people and I just want to be left alone, and I'm frustrated anytime I have to interact with people. And that's like the extent of their personalities. And the guy has his woodworking that they go into in the book, to give him like more interest, and the woman has her dog training that they go into in the book to give her more interest. But their personalities are basically like super prickly, uninterested in interacting with other people, and that's the extent of it. And they're not really teased out much more than that. I mean, for her, you get this flashbacks and stuff, and you kind of are like, okay, well, we get why she has kind of cut herself off. But it doesn't actually like progress her character anymore, if that makes any sense. It's kind of a weird thing. You would think with a romance novel, it would be all about character development and all about the drama of the characters. And this book is really relying more heavily on the other things. So the like suspense part with this guy that's after her, and then the parts with like the dog training and the woodworking to kind of flesh this book out. And I mean, it is what it is. If you're someone who really needs to feel like you're one with these characters to really get into the love part of it, the romance, then this is going to be super disappointing. If you are someone that just is like, give me a story, I don't care about characterization, you'll probably enjoy this. So it just depends on what's important for you. And I think an interesting thing with the characterization of this book is the addition of, it's not the point of view of the character, the stalker character, because it's all told from the third person point of view, but you get scenes from like following their progress. And I think that I found really interesting. I know that's kind of a common thing, but I haven't personally read many books where you get stuff from the bad guy's perspective. And that really helped give this book a little more depth for me. Also, I feel like you're expected to kind of identify with especially the main woman, the woman, because, she's this wounded animal, and they give all of these reasons for, like with these flashbacks and stuff for you to understand why she is the way she is. And so you're supposed to really like identify with her. I think the other characters you're just kind of supposed to observe. And for me, I personally enjoy a book a lot more if I can identify with the main characters. So, but I know that's not everybody's cup of tea. The storyline is action-oriented, but the action is tamer. It's not, we're not talking about like a shootout or like the Jack Reacher book where, there's several scenes of like explicit violence where he goes in and just like murders a bunch of people, basically. Even before the like stalker situation starts happening, the book opens with a small 3-year-old boy going missing in the woods, and Fiona, the main character's name is Fiona and her team going in and doing a search for him. So it is action where there's still like physical action happening. So I wrote, for the storyline and for this book, I wrote action oriented. You have a resolved ending, which is very, very typical of romance novels. Like, I don't think you could call it a romance novel if there isn't a resolved ending at the end, unless it's some sort of like trilogy or something. But at the end of the story, there's always going to be a resolved ending. That's kind of the point of a romance book. So resolved ending, minor violence. Obviously there's romance. It is a romance suspense book. So there you go. A romantic suspense. There's definitely some strong language in this book. It's not like a theme of the book, but there are definitely F-bombs and stuff. So if you end up getting this on audiobook or whatever, like don't listen with your kids around, basically is what I'm saying. And being a romance book and it like an adult romance book, it's not erotic or anything, but there are some steamy scenes. So also just letting you know in case that's not your thing, like there are some scenes, I mean, they can be skipped if you want, but there are some racy, steamy parts. So the frame and the tone of this is, the frame is set on Orcas Island, and it affects the tone because you get this very small town, kind of folksy, everybody knows everybody else. There's like 2 cops in the entire city that she lives in, sort of a feel. And that is definitely a specific like setting that you get in books that they go for sometimes. I mean, obviously not all books, but that is a very recurring theme where set in a small town, everybody knows everybody else. The community is rocked when there's, you know, some sort of crime happens or whatever. So the tone of the book I wrote is like foreboding. I mean, it's a thriller, so no shock there. It's psychological. You get glimpses into the head of the bad guy, and you also get her kind of going head to head with her fear and like kind of having to like deal with the stuff that happened years ago. So psychological in that. Romantic, obviously, again, it's a romance book. Small town. I wrote contemporary, and then rural and suspenseful. Again, it's a romantic suspense, so no one should be surprised that it is suspenseful. So the general feel of this book, I would say, is if you're looking for a romance, you might be disappointed because there's not a great amount of character development. If you're looking for a thriller, you might be disappointed because there's not, I mean, there is definitely that in the book, but I think it vies for the focus between that and the romance. However, if you were looking for a romantic suspense that kind of has a little bit of both, I think you'll be happy. I mean, you just have to, like I said, I gave you the breakdown. You just have to decide if that sounds like something you want to read. I enjoyed it. I'm not really a romance book kind of person. I don't mind there being romance in my books. And I felt like this had enough of the thriller part, the suspense part, to still be interesting and not just be a romance. So if that sounds interesting to you, check it out. If not, don't. I read this one. I didn't do audiobook, so I can't attest to how the audiobook is, but so that was The Search by Nora Roberts. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content, make sure to subscribe before you leave. And until next time, happy reading. Today we are doing another one of the Then and Now. Today we're doing another one of the Then and Now trilogy things that We're doing another Then and Now video. And today I'm going to be talking about The Search by Nora Roberts. And I just realized I don't have my thing with me. So one second. Ooh, wrong direction. There we go. Wow. Still more glare.
Suspense. Stop it! This is a suspense, a romance thriller? What is the term?
And the book opens with her meeting a new person on the island named Simon. There we go. If characterization is important, it's not the book for you. You get glimpses into the bad of the head guy. Oh my goodness. Okay. Oh my gosh.